All right, it says we live.
All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
Want to start off by giving our praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rahahak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Akim teaching about the mind wide mot as a sincerity and truth. It's the Great Millstone Dallas branch. And, me and the brother Adna, the Lord allowed us another opportunity to continue the series, getting into the history of the book of Judges. And we reached chapter 8. The last time we got together, we got into Gideon and the whittling down the soldiers
Midian.
to
Yeah.
300.
Mm-hmm.
So that took place. Gideon was that judge. This the next couple chapters also go into how Israel would be delivered, go off, and then be delivered again, and then go off. So we got Gideon. We got Gideon's account in chapter 7. It's a continuation in the chapter 8, and of course you're gonna remember the theme that we've been seeing with Israel going off every time the once the judge passes away. So we can go ahead and get to it.
Gone. Yep. So, like the elder said, previous verse, we had a triumph of Israel over the Midianites, right? So this is a continuation of those events. This is Judges chapter 8, verse 1. It says, "And the men of Ephraim said unto him, Why hast thou served us thus, that thou calledest us not when thou wentest to fight with the Midianites? And they did chide with him sharply," meaning that whenever the tribes, I believe it was Manasseh was the main tribe, and there was a couple other tribes that basically Gideon had called. Ephraim, they kind of got the late, they kind of got the late notice, because they went down, to the camp after Gideon had already pretty much put those Midianites to flight. So that's why Ephraim, the tribe of Ephraim, because when you go back to chapter 7, talks about it in verse 24, right? Which is after he put the Midianites to flight. You see? So he sent messengers throughout all Mount Ephraim saying, "Come down against the Midianites and take before them the waters, right, unto the Jordan River," right? So after they did that, they were like, "Well, damn, you went up to war without us." You know what I'm saying? And they were getting on his case about it, right? So it says, "And he said unto them, What have I done now in comparison of you? It is not the gleaning of the grapes of Ephraim better than the vintage of Abiezer? The Most High hath delivered your hands the Most High hath delivered into your hands the princes of Midian, Oreb and Zeb," right? Because when you go back to chapter 7, right, you see that in verse 25, it says, "They took the two princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeb, and they slew Oreb and Zeb, and they brought their heads back to Israel," right? So Gideon was like, "Shoot, y'all the ones that smote the head of the whole, y'all smote the rulership, you know? I mean, we went to war, but I mean, y'all did more than us." Basically what we was saying, right? And like the scriptures say, I'll get it real quick. Soft answer turneth away wrath. It's Proverbs 15:1. Right? It says, "A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger." You see, so he was wise enough to know. Like he pretty much, what's the word? He used subtlety, but he humbled himself. And then another precept is Philippians 2:3, right? Because he used wisdom. It says, Philippians chapter 2, verse 3, it says, "Let nothing be done through strife or vain glory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves." You see, so he wasn't trying to do it for his own glory. He wasn't trying to be strifeful with it. Okay, he esteemed himself as a servant. and he used he humbled himself and said, "Look, y'all are the ones that the Lord put the spirit on y'all. Y'all the ones that actually slew the kings, right?" And so it says in verse 24, and Gideon came to Jordan, okay, and passed over, he and the 300 men that were with him, faint yet pursuing them. Okay, so let's get some maps right quick. Okay, so Gideon was still pursuing the Midianites past the Jordan River. I'm gonna get a map that has a picture of the Jordan River here. Okay, so you can see here. You can see here the Jordan River runs through, right, from Dan all the way south, right, to the Dead Sea. See that? So he crossed over the Jordan River, right? Originally, the battle, it actually has a map. There's a lot of maps on this website here from BibleMapper.com, but this is where the battle took place. Okay, Gideon's camp was uh, near the hill of Moreh in Jezreel Valley. Okay, and it says right here you can see where it says Sukkoth, right? And you can see there's a arrow when you look at this. I don't know if it lets me click it and blow it up. There we go. This is better. Okay, so this arrow, these arrows at the
Ooh,
bottom
there
here.
we go.
My
Man,
bad. Yeah,
now I can see. Shit.
yeah. I was trying to zoom in. Yeah, these arrows down here is a key. You can see it in the blue where it says Gideon's men pursue on the bottom left. I don't know if you brothers can see that, but this is where the battle started at. You know what I'm saying, in chapter 7. And this square right here is basically a blown up basically zoomed in portion of this square. So this is where the battle happened, right? And then the Lord made the Midianites flee, and you could see how far they fled. All they literally chased them, you know, dozens of miles all the way eastward. You can see that red and that blue arrows. So when they got here, so now when they got here to the Jordan River, this is where we're at right now. Okay, Succoth, because they had to you got to cross the Jordan River, which is this blue river here, and then a city close to that river, east of the river is Succoth, right? Which there were Israelites living here. Okay, Gad. This is in the land of Gad. Okay, so just to give a visual, what I'm saying, of what happened between chapter 7 and chapter 8, basically the Midianites were fleeing, okay, back. They were fleeing back to their cities. So, yeah, sorry, I didn't know I could blow it up. So let's go back here. All right, I'm going to read verse 4 again. It says, "And Gideon came to Jordan and passed over, he and the 300 men that were with him, faint yet pursuing them," meaning that they chased them, right? They chased them all the way across, the Jordan River. They crossed the Jordan River and they was still chasing them. And they came to this city, right? This Israelite city named Succoth, right? And basically, Gideon asked them for some victuals, you know what I'm saying? Because they were tired, right? So it says in verse 8, "And he said unto the men of Succoth, Give, I pray you, loaves of bread unto the people that follow me, for they be faint, and I am pursuing after Zebah and Zalmunna, kings of Midian." Right? So they already had the heads of Oreb and Zeb, but there was multiple kings, right? And basically, Gideon was in that spirit of just, cutting the head off the snake, nipping it all off the bud, because if you didn't do it at that moment, they probably, would have gotten stronger, would maybe waited a year or some months, and then would have came back and attacked. So the spirit was on Gideon to really pursue the way that he was pursuing. So he just needed them to give him some food, right? So this is what Jake did. Okay, being stingy. It says, "And the princes of Succoth said, Are the hands of Ziba and Zalmunna now in thine hand, that we should give bread unto thine army? Basically meaning like, where's the princes that you're talking about? You know what I'm saying? You saying you're gonna pursue them? You saying you're gonna go get them? Well, where they at? Basically, they were being niggas, man, because they didn't want to give up that, whatever it was. Probably just all they needed was some water and some bread. They were being stingy, right? But they were Israelites, so they weren't being brotherly. You see? So this is what Gideon said, and this is, remember, this the angel of the Lord came to Gideon and basically, uh, showed Gideon, hey, look, the Lord's dealing with you. You know what I'm saying? The Lord be with thee, thy mighty man of valor. That was in chapter 6, right? So that's that, they saying that to this man, a man of the Lord. So this is what Gideon said, and it says in verse 7, therefore, when Yahweh Bashem Yahushai hath delivered Zebah and Zalmunna into mine hand, then I will tear your flesh with the thorns of the wilderness and with briars. You see, so he was like, all right, bet you, even though you're of my nation, of my nationality, and you don't want to help me, since that's the case, when I come back, when the Lord brings them into my hand, then I'm gonna come and chastise you. You know what I'm saying?
It's the same concept as now. You see, you got all these Israelites and all these Israelite groups, and the way they treat the prophets. You see, it's the same concept back then. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you know your people. You know your people at war. You can't not know.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's showing that separation, even amongst Israel. You
Mm-hmm.
got it.
Gone. Yep. It says in verse 18, right? It said, I'm sorry, in verse 8, Judges 8 and verse 8 says, and he went up thence to Penuel and spake unto them likewise. Okay. And the men of Penuel answered him as the men of Succoth had answered him. So he's seeing all of these basically niggas, man. Like he's noticing that, okay, wow, the Lord's delivering Israel, but here it is. I'm trying to cut the head off the snake. And basically these dudes don't want to help. You see? So he went to another city, which is maybe like a couple miles down the way. You can see Penuel is more than likely somewhere east of Succoth, not too far away, right? And basically they answered him like the men of Succoth answered him, right? So same thing. And this is what we got to deal with, man, with our people. They don't want to be, they don't want to listen, they don't want to submit to the authority of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So it says, verse 9, and he spake also unto the men of Penuel, saying, when I come again in peace, I will break down this tower. Yeah. So even though it was an Israelite city, basically he was like, okay, y'all, it's some niggas in here too, in this city too. Because who don't want to help? It's like that, but that's the reason why the Lord split up Israel the way he did. And when you really go into these accounts, you really see, wow, like all these tribes that you see, all these different tribes, Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, Gad, you know what I'm saying, Ephraim, Benjamin, like they were like separate. They almost, there's like they operated like, well, if it's not affecting our tribe directly, then we don't got nothing to do with it. You see? And that's why the Lord was jacking certain tribes up at a time, and then other tribes they'd be doing, they would be kind of doing okay, and they'd have the ability to help the other tribes, but they wouldn't. So then that caused them to be guilty too. You see? So it was a constant cycle of this, right? So it says in verse 10, now Zebah and Zalmunna were in Karkor, and all their hosts with them about 15,000 men. Okay. And it says all that were left of the hosts of the children of the east, for there fell 120,000 men that drew sword. So in chapter 7, basically the Lord, either put the spirit on the Midianites and the other, individuals of the tribe of the nations to put each other to death, or the ones that were along this trail here that were fleeing. They got a lot of them men got put to death, and that number was 120,000 men, and so there was only 15,000 left, so only 10%, less than 10% left, right? And it says, verse 11, and Gideon went up by the way of them that dwelt in the tents of on the east of Nobah and Jobeha, and smote the host, for the host was secure. And I think that meant they were resting. Let me check the word secure real quick. You know what I'm saying? They probably thought, yeah, we good. Like, we done got to the other side of the Jordan River. Surely they won't chase us this far. Yeah, Batach, safe. Yeah, careless. Yeah, Strong's H 9983. Batach. You know what I'm saying? They were secure, like they were in a place of refuge. Basically, they was back in their hometown, and Gideon chased them all the way to there. You know? So I don't know if it has a map of
I got some commentary for you.
Okay, Khan.
All right, let me start at All right, I'm gonna start in the middle where Ephraim was like, man, y'all, we wanted to get some too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it says, however, the Ephraimites were offended because Gideon had not called them to join the main battle. They calmed down when Gideon praised them by pointing out what a good job they had done. Whereas Gideon and his men had killed many of the ordinary Midianite soldiers, the Ephraimites had killed the two Midianite princes. The quality of Gideon's harvest could not compare with that of the Ephraimites' gleanings. As for Gideon himself, he would not rest till he had killed the enemy kings. Not only were they the Midianite leaders, but they had also killed Gideon's brothers. The leaders of certain cities east of Jordan doubted that Gideon would be successful, and he refused to give him needed supplies for his army. They feared that if they helped Gideon, the Midianites would later return and punish them. Gideon promised that if they would not help him, he would punish them. You know what I'm saying? To back up when you were saying that they didn't want to help. You know what I'm saying? Like, here it is, a man of the Lord. Y'all done heard about what Gideon's conquest is going through. You know what I'm saying? So to not want to help, you directly turning your back on the Lord, which is what our people don't understand when you fast forward to today. That when you turn your back on the prophets, you turning your back on the Lord. You see? And our people constantly do that. And then when they start getting whoopings, when they start getting hit upside their head, then they want to call on the Lord. So this is just another example of that. All right? It says, though greatly outnumbered, Gideon pursued the two kings and captured them. As he returned from battle, he punished the leaders of the Israelite cities who had refused to help. He himself then killed the kings who had killed his brothers. See, it's a little bit more commentary, but I'm gonna let you get further down.
Khan. All right, so let's go back here to Judges 11. I'm sorry, 8 and let's see, in verse 11. Okay, so it says, I'll read verse 11. Yeah, it says, and Gideon went up by the way of them that dwelt in the tents on the east of Nobah and Jobaha, and smote the host, for the host was secure. And when Zebah and Zalmunna fled, he pursued after them. No, but think about this though. 300 men against 15,000. You would think that they would be at a disadvantage, because it said they only, quote unquote, only had 15,000 men. You see, so that shows you, even just with those 300 men, the spirit that was on those men. Imagine that. You see, and that's coming back, man. That's going to come back in a major way. You see? So, I mean, it doesn't go into detail, but what put them to flight? The fact that they chased them down. Okay, and they attacked him. Verse 12. And when Zebah and Zalmunna fled, he pursued after them and took the two kings of Midian, Zebah and Zalmunna, and discomfited all the hosts. You see? So all of the men of the armies that, they pretty much was like, man, we give up, right? So verse 13, it says, and Gideon, the son of Joash, returned from battle before the sun was up and caught a young man of the men of Succoth and inquired of him. And he described unto him the princes of Succoth, even the elders thereof, even 70 men. So there were 77 elders, princes, right, of the city of Succoth. Because remember, he was returning back. Where's my trusty map? He was returning back from this far, from I'm having problems pronouncing this, but Jogbeha, right? He was returning back and going back to the west. He was coming back from the east and going back west, which you could see probably about like maybe 15 miles back, right? And remember, they were weary, so they traveled 15 miles, hungry as hell. You see, and on the way back, it says Gideon caught one of the young men, and the young man of this city, Succoth here, described to them like, okay, this is what the elders look like. You know what I'm saying? There's 77 of them, so that he knew who to get on when he came back. Keep in mind, these are Israelites, so he didn't put them to death, but he chastised them. But like the law says, you know what I'm saying? You can give a man stripes. He was a judge, right? Gideon was a judge, so you can give a man stripes. You know what I'm saying? If he be found guilty, right? And they were guilty of refusing bread of men, that were coming in to deliver Israel, right? The scriptures say, "Whosoever give, a cup of water, to a prophet, even in the name of a prophet, shall receive a prophet's reward." You see, so it says, verse 15, and he came unto the men of Succoth and said, "Behold, Zebah and Zalmunna, with whom ye did upbraid me, saying, Are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna now in thine hand, that we should give bread unto thy men that are weary?" You see? So now they were looking crazy. Now the men of Succoth were looking crazy. You know what I'm saying?
I would say it's a Fisher turn Hunter situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? When Gideon was fishing for the men and the supplies, they didn't want to give them none. Nice time for them to get hunted because they didn't help.
Mm-hmm.
So all those that turned you back on the plow, you got all these dudes that can't wait to turn over the profits to the enemy. All that fall in the same category, man. You got it.
Con. All right. This is continuing on verse 16. It says, "And he took the elders of the city and the thorns of the wilderness and briars, and with them he taught the men of Succoth." Now, what does it mean when they say he taught them? He taught them a lesson, man. He chastised them, man. Okay. Oh, you die. Uh, it says you die. So, but okay, yeah, he let them know. He's saying he taught them, man. You see, I wonder if it has anything on the scripture index to see Judges, Judges chapter 8:16. Let him praising. Yeah, it don't have nothing on there. You see, I don't think. So anyway, going back here, it says verse 17, and he beat down the tower of Penuel and slew the men of the city. So he, he slew some Israelites too, man. You see, the tower of Penuel, which is going back to this map here, is in the area of Gad, because he's not going to ask some heathen for some help. He's asking this fellow. That's a scripture. And what was that? Psalms 50. You know what I'm saying? Is it Psalms 50? Let me see. No, hold on. Maybe it's Psalms 55. Uh, if it was my enemy, I could have bore it, but it was a man my equal. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
I think it's
yeah, I
like
would think that's a 50.
55. That's it. That was it.
Yeah.
Psalms 55. Psalms 55 and 12. Yep. It says, for it was not an enemy that reproached me, then I could have borne it. Neither was it he that hated me. Neither was it he that hated me that did magnify himself against me. Then would I have hid myself from him. But it was thou, a man mine equal, my guide, and mine acquaintance. You know what I'm saying? Like basically, our people, like Yahushua said, a man is not without honor except in his own city. You know what I'm saying? Amongst his own people. So that's why the spirit of the Lord was on Gideon, and that's gonna come back, man. You see, that's gonna come back. The spirit's gonna hop on. It don't even got to be one of the prophets. The Lord could put a spirit on one of these troops, man. You know what I'm saying? One of these NATO troops to jack up 2/3 of our people, man. That's what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? The sword, the famine, the pestilence, that's coming to our people that don't want to get with the program. Okay. And I bet they didn't expect that to happen to them. Right. So going back here to Judges, it says in verse 18, um, then he said unto Ziba and Zalmunna, what manner of men were they that ye slew at Tabor? And they answered, as thou art, so were they. Each one resembled the children of a king. You see? So there was let me see. Basically, there was an instance where I think we read in the commentary where his brothers, yeah, they had killed some of his brothers. See that?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So they were you see that? It says he would not rest. Gideon would not rest until he had killed the enemy kings. So, but that was a spirit on Gideon of saying, nah, hell nah, I'm not satisfied, with these two Midianite kings. I want all of them. You see, it says not only were they the Midianite leaders, but they had also killed Gideon's brothers. You see, so I don't know, is that chapter? Yeah. So let me go back here. Okay. It says, verse 19, and he said, they were my brethren, even the sons of my mother. As the Lord Yahweh Shai liveth, if ye had saved them alive, I would not slay you. You see? So he was like, all right, well, if they're still alive, man, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna jack them up. That's probably the reason why Gideon didn't just put him to death right there on site, because he knew, what I'm saying? He wanted to know like who exactly it was that they killed. And they basically told him, yeah, like basically, yeah, like we killed your brothers. You know what I'm saying? They looked like you. You know what I'm saying? So Gideon was like, damn. So he said to his firstborn, right? Verse 20, and he said unto Jether, his firstborn, up and slay them. But the youth drew not his sword, for he feared, because he was yet a youth. You know what I'm saying? Which, yeah, it shows you that not everybody's son is going to be like the father. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like Gideon was a mighty man of war, but I'm sure he was trying to train his son up, like the scriptures say, train up a child in the way he should go. I'll get that real quick. You know what I'm saying? Kind of get in any of the precepts I can get, Proverbs 22:6. It says, train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. You see, so Gideon wanted his son to be what? Like him. Right? Rightfully so. Gideon wanted his son to know, like, yo, no, these are the enemies. We're not getting along with these dudes. You see what I'm saying? Gideon wasn't with the go along to get along a group of individuals. Right. So he was teaching his son, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna start teaching you how you treat these heathen, right? But it says he was, he was scared. He was still young. Could have been, 12 years old, 14, you know what I'm saying? However old, right? So it says, verse 21, then Zebah and Zalmunna said, rise thou and fall upon us. For as the man is, so is his strength. And Gideon arose and slew Zebah and Zalmunna and took away the ornaments that were on their camels' necks. Right. So he took matters into his own hands. Now, I want to get this precept real quick because this instance here in Judges 8 is referenced in I had it pulled up, Psalms 83. Okay. Uh you can really start at verse 5, right? Because this is basically what was happening when you read chapter 6. The it wasn't just the Midianites, it was the princes of the east, a couple other nations. They had all kind of came together, you know what I'm saying, and overtook Israel, right? So Psalms 83 and verse 5, and then I'm going to drop down to verse 11. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, meaning they joined, different entities joined together, for a singular cause, which that singular cause was to take the remembrance of Israel out of the earth, as the scriptures say in verse 4. You know what I'm saying? Verse 4, they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. So that's what the heathen, that's the type of time in the heathen on. But then Jake doesn't want to be, they don't want to retaliate. Our people want to just say, okay, well, we're just going, we're just gonna be
Go
nice.
along to get along.
Yeah, we're just gonna be nice. We're gonna play along. Hopefully they stop killing us. Nah, man, the Lord ain't dealing with that, right? So it says in verse 11, and it gives all these examples, right? But we're gonna drop down to verse 11, right? It says, make their nobles like Oreb and Zeb, yea, all their princes as Zebah and Zalmunna. Now, this is a song of Asaph, which is during the time of King David. All right, this history that we're going over, that was the history of the day. It was, it wasn't no Declaration of Independence and Martin Luther King and Emancipation Proclamation. Nah, it was the history of Israel. So these accounts, the names of these kings, all right, that had us in captivity, that the Lord put the spirit on, Gideon to overthrow, they were remembered, and this was a prayer, like, Lord, make their nobles, make the nobles of these other nations, because it wasn't just it, what I'm saying, like it mentions, look, Edom, Ishmael, Moab, Ammon, Amalek, Philistines. You see, it mentions these other nations, Midianites too, right? It says, make their nobles as Oreb and Zeb, right? Oreb and Zeb got their heads cut off. Zebah and Zalmunna got hacked to pieces by Gideon. You see, it says, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the Most High in possession. So, man, come on, bro, come on, man. How can you not? Have that same energy towards these nations, man? Like the scriptures talk about. Okay, it says, make, oh my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind. You know what I'm saying? Stubble meaning the chaff that you burn up. You know what I'm saying? That blows away in the wind. It says, as the fire burneth the wood, and as a flame setteth the mountains on fire, so persecute them with thy tempest. I wonder what that tempest is.
Man.
You see? Those beams, man, those right aiming thunderbolts, man. Okay? From the chariots. Gonna be blasting these other nations. Just like how they did when the Lord had us basically entering into the land during the time of Joshua. Right? It says, and make them afraid with thy storm. You see? So that's exactly what that's exactly what's coming, man. Okay, that's exactly what's coming. But these names were mentioned in Psalms 83. I know it's a popular chapter, it's a popular psalm, so I wanted to bring that out. So continuing on in Judges 8, verse 22. Then the men of Israel said unto Gideon, rule thou over us, both thou and thy son, and thy son's son also, for thou hast delivered us from the hand of Midian. So then, people, they changed their hearts, right? And this is the
In the day of power, in the day of thy power, thou shalt be willing.
mm-hmm.
You see, and you see these different, you see all these different precepts come together in past, present, and future scriptures. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, those that's willing to help, hey, the Lord dealing with. That's why you got the 144,000, 12,000 from each tribe. You got the innumerable multitude of all the nations that they've been scattered amongst. You see? But in order for that to play out, all these different things got to happen. We got to go into captivity. We got to get our ass beat until we can't take it no more. And then we got to call on the Lord. And then in turn, because he said so, he's going to send a prophet. He's going to send a judge. And then it's going to go from there.
Mm-hmm.
And this time, Lord willing, this is the last time he going to set up some judges and set up a deliverance. And then we go off shortly after.
Mm-hmm.
When Yahweh says Yahweh shot back to deliver the elect of the nation of Israel, from that point moving forward, we're not gonna have a time where the whole nation go off and all that. Now once New Jerusalem come out of them chariots, then we're gonna have rebels to purge. But as far as Israel as a whole going into slavery under another nation due to our disobedience, Yahweh shall conquer that by his sacrifice. You got it.
Khan, yep, that's beautiful. Yep, it says continue on in Judges 8 and 22. Then the men of Israel said unto Gideon, rule thou over us, both thou and thy son, and thy son's son also, for thou hast delivered us from the hand of Midian. So even before the time of First Samuel, right, which kind of showed the ushering in of that first, king, Saul. Israel was already like in the spirit of, you could, you could be a king over us, right? But this is Gideon's response. It says, and Gideon said unto them, I will not rule over you, neither shall my son rule over you. For the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Shai, shall rule over you.
Boom. I was waiting on that. You
Mm-hmm.
see, Israel always worshiped the creator of the creature more than the creator. You see,
Mm-hmm.
they say, okay, well, Gideon, well, since you delivered us, then you can rule over us. And he's like, nah, man, damn, y'all still don't get it?
Right.
The Lord delivered you, man. Like, come on now. Come on. Which is an indicator that as soon as Gideon die, they're going to disobey his sons.
Mm-hmm.
You see how they just leave the Lord out of the equation?
Kind.
But the judge never does. It's the same thing now. They always want to leave Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai out of the equation, but the prophets never do. No. Everything is due to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You see? Go ahead.
All right. Judges 8 and 23, it says, verse 24, it says, and Gideon said unto them, I would desire a request of you that ye give me every man the earrings of his prey, for they had golden earrings because they were Ishmaelites. Okay. So remember, it wasn't just Midian, you know what I'm saying? It was some other nations in there too. Right. So the Ishmaelites had them earrings. Okay, and they answered, verse 25, we will willingly give them. And they spread a garment and did cast therein every man the earrings of his prey. And the weight of the golden earrings that he requested was 1,700 shekels of gold, beside the ornaments and collars and purple raiment that was on the kings of Midian, and beside the chains that were about the camels' necks. So let me get verse 26 in the NLT to get an estimation of that weight. Let's see. Damn, 43 pounds.
Man.
43 pounds. Somebody can put in the chat how much how much is 43 pounds of gold worth in US dollars today? You know what I'm saying? And it said that's not even including the royal ornaments, probably had different stones, see pendants, you know what I'm saying? Precious stones. See, they had you know, Jake B getting them diamond necklaces now. They had that going back in the ancient world, man. Ornaments,
Yep.
royal ornaments, you know what I'm saying, and pendants and stuff, you know. And Esau got Jake thinking that that's like the pinnacle of reality, you know, but it's in our nature to wear, you know, to wear like, you know, gold ornaments and, you know, different things like that. You know what I'm saying? But Esau don't be
That's what I'm
wearing.
saying. They also they that's what I'm think about that. The soldiers was balling.
Yeah.
You
Kind of.
that's what I said. You fighting in this type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You fighting in gold and precious stones and all that. You fighting in that.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yep. Kind. Hey, just like in Exodus, you know what I'm saying? The day of the Passover. You know what I'm saying? All the Egyptians, they just gave the Lord put his spirit on them and just give them all their stuff. Because they were like, oh shit,
Man.
man. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, all of our firstborns dead, you know, all these crazy plagues, all these apparitions. They were like, shit, just take it. You know what I'm saying? Just take everything, you know, take it, you know. So, you know, that's how it's gonna be in that day, man. Right? So verse 27, it says, Gideon made a sacred ephod, and this is still in the NLT, and I'll switch back in a little bit, but it says Gideon made a sacred ephod from the gold and put it in Oprah, which is his hometown, as it says here. Uh, but soon all the Israelites prostituted themselves by worshiping it, and it became a trap for Gideon and his family. Yeah, so it was like that. What was that staff or yeah, that staff that Moses had made with the snake. You know what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah.
That became a you know a idol too. So Jake loves idol worship, basically. You know what I'm saying? They can't see the spirituality of what's going on. You know, that shows you that our people are in that herd. They've always been in that herd mentality. Even today, when you look at people today, they idolize these people on Instagram, literally worship him. They worship money. You know what I'm saying? They worship these celebrities, you know, and they don't pay attention to what the Lord's doing in the earth. They didn't pay attention back then. They don't pay attention now. They're stiff necked, man. That's why the Lord said they got iron sinews for necks. Meaning you can't, you know, you're so hard headed, so stiff necked, you can't be led in no direction. You just like a statue of iron, you know. So it says in verse 28, and I'll go back to King James on this. Judges 8 and 28. It says, thus was Midian subdued before the children of Israel, so that they lifted up their heads no more. Yeah. And that was because of Gideon, by the way, and his persistence of getting those other two kings out the way, that the Midianites were subdued. Okay, it says, and the country was in quietness 40 years in the days of Gideon. See that? A complete generation. See? And it says in verse 29, and Jerubbaal, the son of Joash, went and dwelt in his own house, which Jerubbaal is Gideon. That Jerubbaal is his nickname. You know what I'm saying? The Baal pleaded against him. Right? It says, and Gideon had three score. Hold on. Let me read this again. Judges 8 and 30. And Gideon had 60 and 10 sons of his body begotten, for he had many
70 sons.
wives.
70 sons.
Yeah. How you gonna
That's
get
what I'm
that out
saying.
of one?
Now is he wicked? Is
Right.
Gideon wicked for having 70 sons and multiple wives? Seemed like the Lord used him to deliver Israel from a messed up situation.
Are you Gideon? You not King David. You not Gideon.
Yep, that's right. And, hey, and to an extent, you're right, because that is reserved for a man with that type of substance.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
see, but that don't mean that it's not right for a man of low substance to not have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the
It's
thing
not.
is,
It's not about the whole. It's not about the multiple wives.
Mm-hmm.
It's about furthering the house. You see, you would think that with Gideon having 70 sons, that we wouldn't need another judge after him, now would we?
Right.
But it's all about multiplication. It's all about multiplication, and then it's gonna be subtraction, and then there's gonna be some more addition.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
Well, I say the most highest thoughts are not our thoughts, man. So for a
Mm-hmm.
woman to try to make it look like the Lord don't know what He's doing, then it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it also talks about what righteous women do. So it's got what a righteous man would do and what righteous women would do. It's got what wicked men and wicked women gonna do. It's all in there. You see?
That's right.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would say the Lord tends to want to increase a man that's a man of his own heart. You see? Gideon had 70 sons. And from us looking, you would think out of 70 sons, at least one of them gonna be good.
Right. Yeah. Come on. Now, Baratazar, right? You know what I'm saying? Which, when you read the next chapter, oh, it's my bad. You got it, Zaquan.
No. I was done.
Yeah, Con. When you read the next chapter, you see that most of them was just niggas, man. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, see here. All right, this is going back here to Judges 8 and 31. All right, it says, and his concubine that was in Shechem, she also bare him a son. Oh, a concubine. You see what I'm saying? Concubine, right? So we're gonna have wives, and then we're gonna have concubines, man, which they may be of other nations. You see what I'm saying? Right? It says she also bare him a son, whose name he called Abimelech. Okay, which I'm just kind of curious what that name means. Abaya Malak. My father is a king. Yeah. Yeah, this one is, yeah. This is accurate as a spirit. Sean's H40. Abba, because Abba means father. Yah at the end of the word makes it possessive. So it'd be father my or my father, and then Malak is king. You know what I'm saying? That's a dope ass name. I ain't gonna lie. Too bad it turned out to be a nigga though. But anyway, verse 32, it says, and Gideon, the son of,
here they go with this buffer.
oh, it's buffering? Is it buffering?
Here they go with this buffer. Okay, now I can see everything again.
Okay, yeah. Oh, okay, hold on. A brother put on the comment board. Okay, a brother put on the comment board. 43 pounds of gold is worth $2.2 million. Another one is almost $2.5 million. So over $1 million worth of, you know what I'm saying, worth of gold from them earrings, back from a couple verses ago. So they got them spoils, boy. Divided by what, 300 men? Well, it was probably more, but you know what I'm saying? So yeah. Let me see. Going back here.
That's crazy.
Right. Off earrings. So them niggas is balling. So it says verse 34. Actually, I'm sorry. I skipped a couple verses. Judges 8 and 32. It says, and Gideon, the son of Joash, died in a good old age. Oh, Salaki, can you hear me? Is it my connection? Can you hear me, Zaquan?
Okay, I can hear you. You choppy, but I can hear you.
Okay, because I mean, I got good connection. You know what I'm saying? I think it might be your connection. I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure because nothing's really buffering on my side. Let me check the stream. Make sure I'm not tripping. Let's see. Make sure.
Choppy.
Oh, Salaki, can you hear me? Yeah. So it's seeming like the stream's good on my side. So I'm gonna just keep going. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just keep going. All right. And if you brothers can hear me, just put a con in the chat. You know what I'm saying? If brothers can hear. All right. All right, so this is back in Judges chapter 8 and verse 32. I'll read it again. And Gideon, the son of Joash, died in a good old age and was buried in the sepulchre of Joash, his father, and Oprah of the Abiezerites. All right, now this page here has a good amount of maps. You got the land of Midian, Mount Tabor, Jezreel Valley, Mahanaim. Okay, yeah. Oh, we gotta, let me see. Pop back in here. Let's see. I'll add him to the stage whenever he's ready. There we go. Oh. Cool. Yeah, I think we're good to go now, Taquan.
Well, Satan just as big as it can be.
Yeah, Con. Hey, brothers in the chat said that they can hear. Brothers said in the chat said that they can
Okay.
hear me. So I think I'm not sure.
I can hear you loud and clear now.
Okay,
Yeah,
Con.
everything look like it's back.
Okay, Con. All good. So yeah, going back here. Gideon died, okay, and was buried back in the land of Oprah. And it came to pass, verse 33, as soon as Gideon was dead, that the children of Israel turned again and went a whoring after Balaam and made Baal Berith their god. You see, as soon as he was dead, they're like, all right, now we can go back. Because Gideon's dead now. Now we can go back to being demons. You see, that's the mindset of our people, man. To this day, right? And there's so many accounts of it. Right? When you read this here in Psalm 78, verse 10, it says, they kept not the covenant of the Most High and refused to walk in his law. They forget his works and his wonders that he had showed them. Marvelous things did he in the sight of their fathers in the land of Egypt, in the field of Zoan, right? It talks about all the different things that he did during the deliverance of Israel, during the Exodus, right? And now that we have the understanding that we're Israelites, it's our job to remind our people this is our history. This isn't the Bastards and Ashdod's history. Okay, this isn't the Small Hats history. This is the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans history. So it's important to understand and believe in 100%. We know that this is our history. We don't, there's no other nation on earth that fits these scriptures when you actually read them and you look at the characteristics of the Israelites. That's how niggas act, man. You see, as soon as they're back, as soon as an authoritative figure back is turned, they go back to slacking off, and the Lord just continue to jack them up, right? It's a cycle. All right, verse 34. And the children of Israel remembered not the Lord their power, who had delivered them out of the hands of all their enemies on every side. Neither showed they kindness to the house of Jerubbaal, namely Gideon, according to all the goodness which he had showed unto Israel. Like we said earlier, man, a prophet is not without honor save in his own house. His own people pretty much was being niggerish towards him, man. Right? And let me see what we got here. Yeah. Right? Psalms 106 and verse 10. Right? And he saved them, talking about our people, right? We could really start up. You know what I'm saying? Man, you know what? Damn, this is good right here. Psalms 106 and 7. Let me make sure. Still good. Okay. All right. Psalms 106 and 7. It says, our fathers understood not thy wonders in Egypt. They remembered not the multitude of thy mercies, but provoked him at the sea, even at the Red Sea. Yeah, because they was acting like they was asking Moses, dang, Moses, you brought us out here to the Red Sea just for the Egyptians to put us to death. Because the Egyptians went back, Pharaoh and the Egyptians, they went and they chased after him. You see what I'm saying? You want me to? I can add you. I'm not sure if you wanted me to add you to the stage, Jaquan, but I just added you to the stage to the thing there, right? So continue on here. It
Hey,
says,
can you hear me out now?
Con, I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if it's a lag, but I can hear you.
Okay, okay, Con, that's what's up. It's like I'm backstage, but not in the show.
Yeah, no, you on now. I added you to the stage. You brothers can hear you. It's just a little bit of a lag,
Oh, okay.
maybe like a 1.5, 2 second delay. But I can hear you though. I don't know what's going on with that, man. But we almost done anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna finish these last couple precepts. Okay. Verse 8, it says, nevertheless, he saved them, talking about the Israelites. The Most High saved Israel for his name's sake, okay, that he might make his mighty power to be known. He rebuked the Red Sea also, and it was dried up. So, he split the Red Sea, right? Uh, right? It says, so he led them through the depths as through the wilderness. Now, uh, points in verse 13, right? Right. Oh yeah. Oh well. Do you know what? I might as well just keep reading here. It says, and he saved them from the hand of him that hated them. Let's check here. Let me add you in here again. Hopefully everything good. Uh, back in Psalms 106, right, and 10, and he saved them from the hand of him that hated them. Right. The Lord saved Israel from the hands of the Egyptians and redeemed the Israelites from the hand of the enemy, which at that time was the Egyptians, referring to again the Exodus, right? And it says, "And the waters covered their enemies, that there was not one of them left." It says in verse 12, "Then believed they his words and sang his praise." See, they didn't. Israel didn't believe in the Lord beforehand. The Lord, man, if if deliverance from the land of Egypt required faith at that time, I mean, okay, like there was like a little bit of faith, with the Passover, putting the blood, you know what I'm saying? Moses told them to do it and they obeyed, you know what I'm saying? But man, Jake was scoffing, boy, at any potential moment that they possibly could. Anytime they felt a little bit uncomfortable, you know what I'm saying? They started chiding towards Moses, right? So it says in verse 13, they soon forgot his works. They waited not for his counsel, but lusted exceedingly in the wilderness and tempted the Most High in the desert, right? So, but this point here is in verse 13. They soon forgot the Lord's works. As soon as where it say
Gideon.
Gideon, yeah, as soon as he was dead, right? As soon as he was dead, man, Israel turned and went a whoring after the other gods. You see? And that's our people, man. That's how they get down. So, like I said, verse 35 was the end of the chapter. Let me see if there's anything on the commentary. Let me see here. All right. All right, this is finishing out this commentary here. It says, by now there was a widespread feeling among the Israelites that they should be like the nations around round about and have a king whose rule would pass on to descend to his descendants after him. But it says Gideon refused their invitation, pointing out that Yahweh Shem Yahushua was their king. You see that? So Jake, but it wasn't that long, man. We only on Judges chapter 8. It wasn't that long that Israel was in the land. Maybe not even barely even 100+ years. Maybe a couple, not even a couple hundred years. Like maybe like 100 years or 150 years, man. So Israel was already thinking like this. Probably not even 100 years, to be honest. Maybe 100 years. You know what I'm saying?
Man, look, I said, look how many judges we done went through already.
Con, you know. So you know what I
Woo.
mean. So and it says they there was a widespread feeling that they should be like the nations. I want to be like the other nations. We need a king. You see what I'm saying? Because they didn't believe in the Lord. They didn't even believe in the Lord. You see, that's why they continued going into slavery and until it was convenient for them. Right? It says, although he continued to exercise some leadership in Israel, Gideon was not the great leader in peace that he had been in war. As Aaron had once done, he made a material symbol of the unseen power, and this soon led the people into idolatry. So, even though Gideon didn't, it wasn't an idol to Gideon, but Jake idolized the ephod. They were like, yeah, man, that ephod, man, that's where they probably like that's where Gideon's power, they were like, man, yeah, that ephod, like that was like a what's the word, a conduit to lead Jake back into idolatry, right? And here's the last paragraph in the commentary. It says, in spite of his refusal to be Israel's king, Gideon showed a tendency towards a sort of lifestyle that was typical of kings and neighboring nations. Like them, he built a large household of wives, concubines, and children. And when he died, the people easily slipped back into Baal worship. In their security and prosperity, they forgot the power that saved them. And that's exactly, man, you got it, Zaquan.
Man, it just that's what's so beautiful about the times we live in now. We living in a time now to where this could be the last go round. You see, once the Lord sent His Son back to redeem the elected nation of Israel, you see, and we beamed up into those chariots, and New Jerusalem comes down. It ain't gonna be no more. That last group of rebels gonna be purged out. You know what I'm saying? So we see the remnant is all Israel has always had. You know what I'm saying? Based on the eyes of the Heavenly Father, He always had that remnant because you see the pattern. You see? But now, hey, when the Lord send Yahweh Shai with Michael and the archangels and this final deliverance, we ain't gonna have to worry about being going off and going back into the ways of the heathen. Because by then, death, sin, all that's gonna be cast into the lake of fire, man.
Con.
You see? And that's why we go back into this history so we can see how our people were, whether it be the 2/3 or the elect of that time. You get to see both sides throughout the book. You got it.
Con. Hey, like the scripture says in Sirach 11, it says, prosperity and adversity, life and death, poverty and riches come of the Lord. You see? So they attributed that prosperity and that riches, to, a God that they made out of their own, out of their own. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yeah, we good. And it's the same thing. Remember we went over the book of Amos, Zaquan, and the theme of that book was how basically after King Solomon's rulership, the northern kingdom, even though they split up into northern and southern kingdom, after King Solomon's rulership, which he had ruled Israel in peace for 40 years. After King Solomon's rulership, when Jeroboam, he started, being the first, he was the first king of the northern kingdom. The northern kingdom was really, they were balling. They were still eating off of those trades and those pacts that King Solomon had set up, and they were basically dwelling comfortably. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing, man. Saying, it was a continuing pattern until the Lord, and it took hundreds of years, but eventually the Lord just like, man, I'm just gonna uproot all of you, all of us. He uprooted us. We're that group. You know what I'm saying? We're all in that group. If you would take, you know what I'm saying, you ain't in the land of Israel right now. You ain't ruling over there. You're not sovereign over there. So that's just a continuing theme, man. But we got the precepts. Let me see if there's something on the comment board. Let's see here. Yep, there's a good one right here. All right. It says Hosea 5:15, I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early. You see, so the Lord basically hid himself from us as a nation during the times that we were going off and whoring after other gods. He hid himself for a period of time, you see. And then Jake called out to him, our people called out to the Most High. And back then, before Hosea 1:9, back then the Lord would answer, you know what I'm saying? Like he would answer more quickly, but now we can't even do that no more. We done jacked it up. So, and we're reading that account of what led to Hosea. Matter of fact, let's get Hosea 1 and 9 and we'll close out real quick. Because we're reading, let me see. Hosea 1. We're reading these accounts that led up to the scripture that we get all the time, Hosea 1 and 9. You see, which the accounts of our people going off and the Lord coming back and delivering. Our people going off, the Lord come back. We only in chapter 8. I think it's like 20 something chapters in Judges. You know what I'm saying? You see?
Man.
So Hosea 1:9, it says, then the Most High said, call his name Lo Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your power. La'a Imya. That's what Lo Ami, the real way to say this word here. La'a Imya. La'a, which is not, and then Imya is people. Or
My people.
Yeah, my people. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's the thing. This haven't changed, man. Yahweh Shai is the only way back to the Most High. So if you're not focusing on Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man, in these times,
He ain't focusing on you.
Khan. That's it. With that, you know what I'm saying? Unless you had anything else, Khan, that was a perfect segue.
That's it.
Khan. Hey, Lord willing, I brought to Zah. This was edifying. All right. With that, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Achak Wadash. Love honors to the apostles, and that was a great millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.
Shalom.